Hey everybody, this is Doing Lines. This is the sports betting podcast where we bet on all the not sports and some of the sports of the sports. I am your host Kyle Ayers, joined as always by my co-host Austin Huff.
We're gonna have to have a talk after this, Kyle.
That one wasn't good at all. That wasn't
you were on a run there where I was like, damn, he's got it
Mm-hmm.
down now. Finally, after a season and a half of doing this podcast,
Right.
I was like, yeah, I think he's really got it. But that one, we'll go over the tape.
Bad.
Yeah, well, it is bad. It is very bad.
One of the problems with it not being good is that it's bad.
That's like it's like running Todd Downing's offense for any Titans fans listening to this. They recognize, it's like or any Bears fans trying to run Matt Nagy's offense. It's like you
You talking about the only winning coach they've had for 2 decades?
Yeah, I'm talking about him. Yeah.
I think that the more we look back on making fun of Matt Nagy for that terrible, they had a bad quarterback and won more games than never.
Well, you got to think this is coming from a Bears franchise that let go of Lovie Smith after a 10-6 season. So,
Yeah,
I think
they don't know what they're doing.
it's like if things got to be great all the time, and if they're not, then they're not. And currently, right now, they are. It is frustrating time to be a Bears fan. But
at least they have a franchise. At least they have it. The franchise. That's good.
That at least they have the franchise.
They'll probably be on Hard Knocks next year with some third-round quarterback who'll be sad.
There are Bears fans listening to this, being like, "Hey, yeah, you know what? He's right." At least
the Bears are one
franchise.
of the few franchises to not know what to do with 2 fields.
Damn it, folks! That's
where
a
do we
great
build this
segue.
one, and where do we send this one?
It's a great segue into our guest this week, who is Laurence Holmes,
Yes.
which we will talk about here in just a second. But before we do, Kyle, where are we
Let's
at
recap
standings-wise?
Standings-wise, last week, so Benedict, how do you say his last name? I want to say it properly.
Polizzi.
Benedict Polizzi was on here last week, and he did pretty good. He made $1,100. He puts him, I believe, into third place. Puts him into third place. He had a big win on the Halloween costumes hitting, as did I. A big win. A lot of Halloween costumes people were wearing on the walk-ins.
I took the under on that one.
You took the under
think
on that
the
one. Didn't
over.
work out.
We talked about making that bet just the Titans game or the entire league wide, and the over hit on the Titans game alone.
Yeah, over and under 3.5. I believe there was like one person came in as a Chinese dragon, which would be 5 people. So I think one person might have hit the over on their own.
That human centipede costume really bit me in the ass.
There were some pretty bad ones. The New York Jets over under 4.5 scores for quarterbacks. Yikes, hit the under. Justin Herbert outplayed Badgent pretty big. And
so I guess that means brains are more important than athleticism.
Yeah.
Or
And,
excuse me,
huge one
athleticism's more important than brains.
For Will
No,
Levis,
flip that.
in your group chat, I believe he played a good enough game to no longer have his name autocorrect to the jeans brand Levi's.
I was stunned by that. There was not a single Levi's in my group chat. And with the number of times his name was texted, I was like, damn, this is well done.
A couple
people.
touchdowns in, you're just teaching it the new thing.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe he
Right.
had a good enough game to where Tim Cook was like, oh, we got to actually program this in as a person. Eventually, if the Oregon Ducks have a good enough game, maybe they'll get their ducking name in there as well.
If what's funny now is I go to text someone about a pair of jeans, and it just keeps coming up Levis. So then it's like,
Yeah, even though you're doing Lee Pipes. Wait till the
Lee Pipes.
The same thing is happening in my group chat actually with the Chiefs backup quarterback Eric Jinkos.
Damn it.
He said he's gonna have a pretty. They say he's gonna have a pretty big game. Said almost oversized.
I can't believe you made a Lee Pipes reference on this. What was the shoe? The soaps?
So yeah, if Gardner Minshew had a jeans brand, it would be the ones that zip off into shorts.
Gosh.
All right.
Goodness.
Benedict is huge. He's on the podium. He's in third place. Between you and I made $1,100 last week. Most of mine was made on locking in the costumes bet. You made $800 last week, which brings you up to $700.
Hey, look, don't spend it all in one place. Am I right?
That really feels like my bank account in college. I hope I make enough money to have less.
Yeah, if just you, and then like after you took out rent, then you only had like
Oh
what?
boy. Well,
Like
someone's got to
$600.
pay that one guy who owned all the buildings in Columbia. Anyways, so this week, let's do it. Let's get right into this week. We're talking.
Yeah,
Do you wanna hear
Lawrence.
this? We got a good one.
Lawrence Holmes from 670 The Score. I'll give you the full intro when we join by him, but he is the man. I love him to death. So let's go ahead and get to Lawrence Holmes. All right, we are joined now by a guy that I absolutely love. A guy who just brings a smile to my face whenever I see him. He's somewhat of a renaissance man. This dude is a sports talk host. You can hear him every weekday from 10 to 2 on Bernstein and Holmes on 670 The Score. He is a contributor to the Sun-Times. Yeah, he does a little writing in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Lawrence, but you recently got your doctorate. Is that right?
No,
No,
I am not a doctor yet, even though you guys keep calling me one.
Okay,
Now,
all right. So
am I pursuing a PhD? Yes,
okay.
but
All
I'm
right,
not
look.
a doctor yet.
Look, as a guy who is a fan of the Tennessee Titans and thinking Will Levis is the next coming, I like to put the cart before the horse. So I'm going to go ahead and call you Dr. Laurence Holmes. He is also, and I should not go on without mentioning this. We all know Pete Rose has the Major League record with 4,256 hits. But if Major League Baseball factored in hits from Chicago's 16-inch softball leagues, then my man Lawrence would be the all-time hits leader, a new hits king, the most consistent hitter since Ty Cobb, Ichiro, Nick Punto. He is Lawrence Holmes,
The big three right there.
PhD.
I actually do think that I played 16-inch softball as long as Pete Rose played baseball. I think that is actually accurate. I think I've had as many at bats in 16-inch softball in the Chicago Radio Softball League as Pete Rose had in the majors, and I think that should count for something.
Yeah,
I think it should. Not a lot of people know this, but PhD actually stands for pretty huge diameter. It's the softball
yes. That is what he's going for.
or pinch hits diameter, either or.
Either one works, honestly. I just can't wait for Lawrence to get banned from softball for betting on games, which I think will happen because obviously a betting man, otherwise he wouldn't have come on this podcast. Lawrence, we're going to lay out 6 fake NFL bets for you.
Okay.
We ask that you distribute. We're also going to give you $1,000.
Woo!
Fake cash. I feel
Damn
like
it.
we should. Yeah, we have to legally we have to say that. And but we're all people of means. Obviously, look, you don't get to be on the midday show in the number 3 market in America without having a little bit of money. All right, so
Isn't that one of the lyrics to the Different Strokes song? A man is born, he's a man of means.
Yeah. Yes. And so honestly, because you are so wealthy, we're all going to donate our fake winnings back to a fake charity of choice. So, Lawrence, is there a fake charity that you will be playing for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to be playing for the Little Sisters for Comic Book Literacy. I feel like that is a very important charity that more people need to become literate in the world of comic books. That way, when a comic book movie comes out, they don't have to ask me about it.
I love that. Honestly, I wish you were around for that. Charity was around for the first phase of the MCU because there was a lot of that for sure.
Oh, there's no doubt. My brother, not into comic books at all. And then when Endgame came out, he goes, "Wait, this is a thing, right? This whole Marvel, like, this is a thing." I was like, "Yes, but for the last 22 movies, Braxton, yes, it has been a thing." And he says, "Well, can you give me like a Cliff Notes version before I go watch Endgame?" I was like, "You're gonna go watch Endgame without having any sort of backstory?"
The movies are the Cliff Notes.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So I gave him, I said, "I can't send you into that movie without having seen at least 6 of the movies."
Right.
So I gave him a list. I was like, "Look, this is This is not going to get you perfect, but it'll get you here. And I had a list of 6 movies for him and sent him on his way. And he seemed to enjoy it.
I
And
gave him
you
Thor
have
Dark World. I gave him the Eric
I did
Bana
not give
Incredible
him
Hulk
Thor
movie,
Dark
and I
World.
told him to go watch it.
Iron Man 3. How dare you, sir? How dare you say that?
I gave him Blade, and I said it's all you need to know.
Well, I mean, Blade did start it all.
It
So,
did.
and now they can't make the new one. But I digress.
Lawrence, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have your hands in the comic book world a little bit, right?
Yeah, I've been working a lot with Image Comics, and I've been working on a really, really cool book called Radiant Black that Kyle Higgins, who's a local guy from Chicago, he's been working on, and he let me do an issue. So issue number 18. I'll tell you, this is a really weird thing. I was in the comic book store because I was reading up on, I was just, every now and again, I go through like a phase if I just want to read about this character or you see some of the stuff they did with this character. And I was going through like a Dr. Doom thing, like MF Doom, like all that stuff. So I went and got a whole bunch of books. And then one of the guys at the comic book store was like, hey, how's everything going? And I was like, oh, everything went great. Like the issue went really well. It sold really well. I actually got residuals, like the whole 9 yards. And this guy was like, well, which book did you write? And I said, well, I wrote Radiant Black 18. And it was a few months after the book had come out. He was like, wait, this one? And he like pulled it off the shelf. and he was like, will you sign it? And I was like, yeah. So that was a really strange moment to go from.
Oh my
Cool,
gosh.
that's awesome.
That is
being
so
the guy that-
awesome.
Yeah, right. And this guy was like, man, this is so excellent. Like to get meet a comic book author. And it's like, it's my first book. So we were nominated for an Eisner Award. Like it was a whole thing, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
So that world was really, really fun.
You're like, don't find me after my 10th book because by then I won't have time for you. But right now
Yeah.
it's just my first, so you're good.
You know me, how I interact with people in the hallways, Austin. I hate people. So you're not going to get me to sign anything once I become big time. Like that's
You're
Yeah.
one more book away from just a Alan Moore persona around the studio.
God bless you for making that reference, Kyle. that is exactly how I'm gonna be. I'm gonna hate everyone. I'm gonna shit on anyone who tries to interpret my work, and I'm just gonna be sour, even though I work in comic books.
Yeah. Well, Lawrence, dude, we are thrilled that you taken the time to join us. We thank you for your time, as I know you just got, normally at this time of day you would have just gotten done doing 3 hours of talking every single day. So we appreciate 4 hours. Yeah, 4 hours. Sorry, I'm the idiot who only has a 3 hour show. So
That's
4
because
hours.
You have to get up at 1. Like it doesn't make any
that's
sense
true.
for you guys to work any longer than you have to. It's cool though because instead of working today, I went to the doctor. Everything seems to be cool, but they were like, "Hey, have you had your flu vaccine?" I was like, "No." They were like, "Oh, it says here you haven't had your pneumonia vaccine in 6 years. You need to have one of those."
No.
I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, you got to get your B12 shot too, and you got to get some blood drawn." So I have 4 different spots. I look like a baseball manager right now. Like
right.
I have 4 different spots on my arm where they stuck me today. So I'm good. I'm real good.
When you talk about, taking shots on your days off, that's not usually what you have in mind, honestly.
No, honestly, love to take different types of shots if you could. And after I'm done with Corked, I am going to do some of that. So
okay. All right. Good.
It is still the most efficient way would be to have it injected in your butt.
Right?
You know
If
that
you're
was
in
awesome.
Chicago, they'll do that with Malort.
Yes,
I like hats and bars.
Have you ever, Kyle? Have you ever tried Malort?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's not one of those things where I'm very provincial about Chicago. Like I love my city, man. I put on for the 4 stars and all of that stuff. And I'm a South Sider, so I got an extra chip on my shoulder for living on the South Side. I will not make people do Malort when they come to visit me.
You don't initiate them.
No, I don't lie to them. I don't lie to them and say, yo, you got to try Malort. No, I'll tell you, you got to go to Pancho Pistola in Bridgeport. I'll tell you that, but I'm not going to tell you that you have to have this awful drink that was originally designed, and I know this because like I deal with Crohn's disease. That's why I was at the doctor today to see my Crohn's doctor. It was originally designed as like a stomach medicine. I'm not making people drink stomach medicine when they come to Chicago just because it has Chicago on it. It's ridiculous.
I do like they were like, if we leave this stomach medicine in a jar, we can technically sell it during Prohibition. And Chicago's like, oh yeah, that's our personality.
That's 100% our personality. Here
See, I thought it was just like a leftover batch of like unleaded gasoline that they just needed to get rid of.
And the first time that you have it, you're just like, why? Why did I do this?
I wish every city had a horrible thing they made everyone do when they like if you go to Kansas City, they're like, well, to live in Kansas City, you have to watch 2005 Royals regular season games.
Instead of having delicious ribs. Like
eating the food we all watch old Royals regular season games.
Oh, don't get me started, because that's where like there's not a lot of hatred that lives in my heart.
I can't talk to a Southsider about it. You'll beat up our first base coach.
That's right. let me go get my neighbors, the Leguis. They're right here, and they would love to come out and talk to you about Tom Gamboa, right? Is that who it was, Tom Gamboa?
Yeah.
I just have nightmares of Bruce Chen coming out and just like him having an ERA of 4.5 against the rest of the league.
Oh,
and it being 2 against the White Sox. Like, oh, Bruce Chen's pitching against the White Sox today? Oh, I know what that means. 7 1/3, 2 hits, 1 earned run, and the White Sox losing 10-4.
Off a 82-mile-an-hour fastball and an 81-mile-an-hour changeup.
Yes.
I think it is always – I got a good relationship with some White Sox fans who are just like, we will never have a winning record against – the worse the Royals are, the better their record against the White Sox.
Well, now we're becoming the Royals, too. Like, that's even sexier. That, now that everyone involved with the White Sox brain trust has at one time worked with the Royals, and now it's like, oh, well, now they'll trade for Salvador Perez. Like, I don't want him now. If you'd have traded for him 6 years ago, that would have been great.
Hey, we'll throw in Greinke.
Salvador Perez now? I don't want him.
Yeah. Yeah, is Mark Teahan still around? Could you trade for him? Maybe get
Mark. It's not funny anymore, Austin. You can't drag Teahan into this.
How dare you, sir?
Mark Teahan looked like MLB The Show creative player default, like just nothing. There's just a nothing person who would have nothing statistics all of the time. But I remember him. I think I got a Teahan jersey somewhere.
I have a Teahan jersey, Royals one. Yeah, for sure. Well, Laurence, let's go ahead and lay out our bets, and then we'll have you bet on them. $1,000 of your fake cash distributed, however you'd like. All we ask is you do bet on at least 2. So Kyle, why don't you go ahead and roll out the first bet for Laurence?
Before I want to say those aughts Royals teams were so bad you could get game used jerseys.
Because they didn't earn their jerseys and put them out there.
Is that an Angel Baroa Rookie of the Year game used jersey?
I want that. Gotta have it.
If you wore a jersey to the game, they'd buy it off you to wear. All right, here we go. So I'll list my 3 bets, then Austin will list his, then we'll let you allocate your money.
Then we'll do the betting. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a Chiefs fan. My number one's a pretty simple one. The Chiefs are playing the Dolphins in Germany I want to say the game starts in 20 minutes Los Angeles time. It's so early. Anyways, they play at 6 a.m. here, 8 a.m. for you guys. I'm going over under 5.5 German stereotype graphics put up. And this is Travis Kelce and Lederhosen. Is Patrick Mahomes eating a sausage? Just if there's multiple people in one, I'm going to say graphics packages, right?
Okay.
So if they throw 3 of them up there, it only counts as 1 if it's all at the same time. But here's the addendum to this one. If it's a Andy Reid with food, that counts as 2.
Say it again, but with those nuggies.
Yeah. If they have him like sprinkling the like some sort of German nuggies, which I don't think it sounds like.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
I don't.
Yeah,
think,
I was going to say that sounded.
Well, I'm
that
German.
sounded.
Some of my best friends are Germans. So.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right, so I got the over under there 5.5.
Yeah, 5.5, and it counts for 2 if it has Andy Reid with food. Here, my next one is today's November 1st. The podcast is out November 2nd. It's officially Mariah Carey season. It's officially All I Want for Christmas Is You season. That video has 422 million views. Just one of them. Just one of the whatever Vivo YouTube of
Like
the
the music video
for All
for
I
the-
Want for
for the
Christmas
song?
for You has 422 million views. And it's been up 30 minutes. All I Want for Christmas for You season, over under 1.5 quarterbacks with more yards this week than that video has millions of views.
Oh wow.
Okay.
And
If
now
it goes up before Sunday, it could be up to 423.
Okay, so that number can fluctuate. At
At the time their yardage is posted, you got to have a leader in the clubhouse type of thing.
Okay.
So over under 1.5 quarterbacks with more yards than that. There's been about one a week. There's been 2 or 3 a couple weeks, and there were none last week that would have beat it.
Okay, and so one more time with the over under 1.5.
422 million views. The over unders at 1.5 quarterbacks with more yards.
Okay.
My last one. This is in honor of Austin being a Titans fan. I call this one Levis to Beaver. Will Levis, the greatest quarterback of all time, if you don't take sample size into account, has his second game this week. There were 234 episodes of Leave It to Beaver on its original run. Over under 234.5 yards for Will Levis.
Okay.
I love that you're changing the pronunciation of his name just
Is
to
it
fit
Levis?
the bet. It is Levis. It is
Oh.
Levis. But I love you calling him Levis just to make this bet make
Here's
sense.
the thing, though, Austin. Here's the thing. You might think that it's Levis.
That's true. You know.
Levis, and let me give you a personal history experience. Forever,
Yeah.
we thought that Robbie Gould's name in Chicago was Robbie Gould. He allowed for coaches, members of the media, and fans to call him Robbie Gould for 2 years
Yeah.
before he was like, my name is actually Gold. It just has a U in the middle of it.
Right.
But it's
That's
gold.
the Gould standard right there.
It is the Gould standard.
I mean, the Kelseys do it still, and they tell everyone it's
that's
wrong, and they
right.
don't care. They're like, it's Kels. Our dad is Kels, but we're Kelsey. And you're like, well, it doesn't change by generation.
Right.
they're
You
just
don't get to
tired.
just now change it. Your name is pronounced Kels.
That was Tyrod Taylor came out and said he's Tyrod Taylor.
That's right.
Same
Really?
thing. And I think and I've heard this. I haven't seen anything on this, but I heard Rihanna is
Rihanna.
actually Rihanna. Yeah.
I mean, I think Taylor Swift is actually Tyrod Swift.
He's also going to be a better choice at quarterback than what they already have.
Yeah.
I believe it's DeAndre Swift. Okay, so I got over under 234.5 yards for Levis to Beaver. The Steelers are giving up about 240 yards to quarterbacks this year, but they've had 2 games that like skewed that. It's like about 200 a game, except for one really bad game. So
Okay.
All right. And
those are
Minkah
my 3.
Fitzpatrick is out this week, so
I wish I
something
took
to
that
note
into
there.
account.
Micah.
Micah.
It's when
right.
he plays, we call it Fitz Magic. He's more of a D&D guy. He's a mage.
Is it Dungeons and Dragons guy?
I have no idea. Minkah Fitzpatrick is a Dungeons and Dragons name. So
All right, for my first bet, we are also going to Frankfurt for this one, and not the capital of Kentucky. Dolphins Chiefs in Germany. Don't ask me why we're exporting our best game of arguably the entire regular season to Germany, but we are. And I'm going to go with this one. This is called my When the Germans Bombed Pearl Harbor bet. Now, obviously, we all know
topical.
Yeah, yeah, the famous line from the recent film Animal House.
It was definitely the Germans who did it. Don't look it up, Austin.
Yeah, no, that's and Tua, who is from Hawaii, is playing in Germany. So, and with Pearl Harbor happening in 1941, this one's going to be pretty simple. Does Tua have a bomb longer than 41 yards? All right.
Okay.
Remember, the Dolphins have the number 1 passing offense, number 1 rushing offense, and the number 1 scoring offense in the entire league.
Gotcha.
Now, Laurence, one big thing about this podcast is we are obsessed with Skip Bayless's timeline. We probably almost on a weekly basis we have at least one Skip Bayless tweets bet.
I think he might be like that Red Witch from Game of Thrones, where if he takes that Dak jersey off, he's 7,000 years old.
In better shape than all of us, though.
That is true.
It is upsetting.
It's very upsetting.
His daily routine is just wake up, work out, and then spit out horrible takes.
He looks how Ric Flair thinks Ric Flair looks.
Oh, that is a perfect description. Oh, that is, Kyle, that's so good.
So Skip Bayless, the Eagles and Cowboys square off on Sunday, on the game of the week on Sunday. All right, so that is a late game. I believe it's the Fox game. I want to know, does Skip Bayless have over or under 2.5 tweets about the tush push, a.k.a. the brotherly shove?
It's good. You see what they did last week, though?
Yes.
I was waiting for the counter, and I was waiting for somebody to be smart enough to counter off of it. And of course, it's the Eagles. Of course, the Eagles are like, you think we're about to do this? Watch this.
Right.
Now we're going to add something you're going to be completely unready for it. That's why I don't want the NFL to outlaw that play. Because if you're smart, you can keep the defense off balance on how to do that play. That's smart coaching.
Yeah.
I
also do think Washington is the Eagles Royals. Do you know what I mean? Like their quarterbacks are always out there looking like Tom Brady every time they play against, and then they just wither back into nothings when they're not playing the Eagles.
Yes, right. That's true.
Yeah. All right. So, and then my last bet of the week, I do a pop culture bet of the week every single week, and a majority of the games in Week 9 will be played on November 5th.
Okay.
Lawrence, I don't know if you're a fan of the film V for Vendetta. But if you are, then you'll remember the 5th of November. And we were going to do a bet on the number of players entering the concussion protocol to see how many players could remember the 5th of November. But that felt weird rooting for head trauma. Mm-hmm. So we skewed away from that. And then I looked to vendettas. How many vendettas are out there this week? There's a lot. Frank Reich against the Colts, to name one. Josh McDaniels going up against the unemployment offices again. It's just another one. But we decided to settle on Tyreek versus the Kansas City Chiefs in Germany again. And since Tyreek is known for throwing up the deuce, which coincidentally also makes a V, I figured, you know what? Let's keep it simple. Tyreek over under 0.5 Vs that he throws up on the field of play during gameplay. So obviously, like if he does it after scoring a touchdown, doesn't necessarily count. It's got to be on the field of play, throwing up the deuce as he runs for a touchdown or whenever he wants to do it.
Okay, so I got $1,000, right?
$1,000.
However you want to allocate it.
And I can allocate it any way that I want.
You sure can. We just asked you to bet on at least 2.
Okay. I am going to take Will Levis over 234 yards. I am going to bet $200, fake dollars, on that. Okay?
On the over.
On the over. I'm going on the over for that one. I am also going to take $200. I'm going to go under German stereotype graphics. It's going to be close. That number is going to be 5. So I'm going to go under, but the NFL loves to do stereotyping, whether they go to London or Germany, or let's be honest, the NFL in the United States of America. They love to do it. But
my team is called the Chiefs.
They're going to stop just short. So I'm going to take the under in that one.
All right. How much money are you putting on that?
$200. So that leaves me with $600 left. And I'm going to use $100 to say that Skip Bayless will go over 2.5 tweets on the tush push.
Okay.
And my lock,
Here we go.
with $500 to play with, Tyreek throws up the deuce.
Oh,
A half on that one. That is my lock that in Germany, whether he's going to the end zone or not, he's going to have a big pass play, and he's throwing the V for Vendetta up. 500 smackaroonies.
wow.
Is
Okay.
being put on that as my lock of the week.
All right,
Wow.
Laurence. Wow. Well done, dude. Okay. We want to wish you the best of luck on your bets. How are you
potential
feeling?
for first place here?
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope that the Little Sisters for Comic Book Literacy are going to be happy with the spoils of what it is that we've done here today. I
Yeah.
hope so. I also hope that being on this podcast doesn't ruin my PhD candidacy.
We have
can't
been
promise
evidence against people getting a lot of promotions,
that. Yeah.
whether it be life or work.
Well, look, what you're doing with the comic book charity, look, you're doing the Star-Lord's work, okay? So we love you, Laurence. We appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck, man.
Thanks, guys. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Follow Laurence at Laurence W. Holmes, Instagram, Twitter, all the socials. Laurence, anything else we can plug on the way out the door?
I do a podcast called House of L, and I talk about media in Chicago. And at some point, Austin is going to be a guest if he can ever get some sleep. He's going to be a guest on there. But yeah, if you check whether it's Apple or Spotify and search House of L podcast, you will see the latest episode, which is with my good friend Layla Rahimi, and she's phenomenal on the episode. So yes, that is my other job that I have, because I have a lot of jobs.
He literally does it all. Laurence, you're the man. We love you, dude.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
All right, another big shout out to Laurence. Austin and I are going to drop our bets again here real quick. It's getting a little less competitive between us here, Austin. We've got about $1,000 gap to work with.
Okay. All right. Appreciate you pointing that fact out.
It's okay. I will do it in the intro too. But who needs $1,000 less than a new additional child having person?
Yeah,
you wouldn't even use that money for anything.
I literally, like, minutes before we started recording with Laurence, I was burping my new child. So that should have been a bet last week. Over under 0.5 kids that I enter into this world.
I would not want to bet on that. You either what you're. It's like saying over under stadiums that explode. Like I'll take the under, and if it hits the over, we're not doing the podcast anymore, probably.
Yeah, right.
Well, let me drop my bets here real quick. I got my $1,000 across. I'm actually going to hit 200 on the over of German stereotype graphics during the game. There's no way they don't have a graphic of Andy Reid eating a sausage, and then a few more.
Oh yeah, because that counts as two.
That counts as two. I'm going to take the under on quarterbacks going over 422 or so yards for $100. I'm going to take the over on Levis to Beaver for $100. I'm going to take 200 on the over for Tua's touchdown distance. I'm going to take 200 on the over for the tush push tweets. I think he rattles off 4 in a row at some point when they score to go ahead. And then I'm going to put $200 on no peace sign from Tyreek during a play. I think the Chiefs are going to just do what they can to slow exactly him down. They got enough footage on it. So the thing I wish so much for this guy who didn't play on the team last year when the team won the Super Bowl is that they just shut up about it.
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
I know.
Oh, well, they traded him away. A whole year has happened.
Yeah.
A successful year.
Yeah, no, I mean, but just be glad that the Chiefs have had success in his absence. Imagine having to deal with all of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's take like a wide receiver, for example, like I don't know, like AJ Brown. Like if your team traded him away, and your team was terrible after that, then you not only would you have to hear about it.
But what if you replaced him with older AJ Brown twice?
Titans, man, they're like, you know what? AJ Brown is really young and could be a star wide receiver in this league. we better trade him and then only bring him back when he's past his prime.
Yeah,
and over
I
the
think
hill.
they traded him because he couldn't rent a car. And then they only sign wide receivers who can co-sign their rental applications.
They only signed wide receivers that are eligible to have an AARP membership.
Average annual receptions per game.
Damn, how do you do that?
All
How
right,
do you
let's
do
get-
that,
let-
Kyle Ayers?
I don't know. It's probably this disease.
It's the disease. Well, all right. I'm gonna go with the under on Levis. Just because I want to take the over so bad, but I'm hedging my bet because if he goes
Okay.
over, I'll be happy. If he goes under, I mean, at least I'll win this bet. So I'm hedging my
Sure.
bet there. I'm putting $100 down on the under for Levis.
Okay.
The Mariah Carey one is so tempting.
I couldn't believe how precise of a number it was.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to take the under for quarterbacks for Mariah Carey.
You know what I think's going to happen is Tua's going to hit the over, and then no one else will.
That's the thing. Because that's the 1.5. That would mean you would need at least 2, and I don't think you're gonna have 2 guys. Watch, it'll both be like Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek in that same game. It'll be like a 50-50 game. I'm gonna take. I'll put $100 down. Actually, $200 down on that. I'm taking the under on German stereotypes. I'm gonna
Okay.
put $200 on that. No Tyreek peace sign. I don't think he does it. I think, and I'm actually gonna make that my lock.
I
And
love
I'm gonna-
having opposing locks on a bet.
I know, and I'm going to make that $400. And I'm going to, I will amend that if he does it like in between plays, that's fine. It just has to be between the white lines on the field of play.
When the clock is at yeah.
Yeah, like not after the game. Like it was still time on the clock, and the clock can be stopped it
During
doesn't
a
matter.
time of possession type of thing.
Correct.
Okay.
And then I'm also going to go the Skip Bayless tweets about the tush push. I'm going to take the under. I think he has 2.
Yeah.
I don't think he has more than that. So
A dream situation for me is a tush push to end the half.
oh man, or to win the game.
Well, then it's over though. Then I don't count it.
Well, but if he tush push in the because the tweets are after the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tush push to win the game with 4 seconds left on the clock.
There you go. Then the whole kick. They tush push the onside kick.
Yeah. So and then let me see here.
How
I've
much
got
you putting on that
600.
one?
I'm gonna put it 100. My last remaining 100 on that.
2, 3, 4.
What bet
5,
did I not
6,
bet on?
7, 8. I got 900 from you. I got 2, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, that's 1,000. Oh, you didn't bet on the Tua touchdown distance.
Oh,
You just wanted to talk about Pearl Harbor, but you didn't want it to have any implications.
Yeah. Is that look? If it was fair game for Animal House to make a Pearl Harbor joke, right? Like
Sure. Well, how'd that work out for their star? Folks, we are doing lines. Give us a rate, review, all that sort of stuff wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube. Check out Cork Bats at Cork Bats with a K. I'm Kyle Ayers. That's Austin Huff.
worked great for his brother Jim Belushi. Had that show.
Yeah. At least their emotional soul carried on for decades with Chris Farley. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Love you.